Travel along, Catholic pilgrims, for 1 year as we read through St. Faustina's diary. Join me, Amy Thomas, each day for a short reading out of the diary which brought us a deeper understanding of Christ's divine mercy. Welcome, Catholic pilgrims. It's day 130, and it is time to read St. Faustina's diary. So today we're going to be talking about lukewarm faith. And gosh, I totally know about lukewarm faith because there was a huge swath of my life where I was utterly lukewarm and it did absolutely nothing for me. So that is what we're going to talk about in Notebook 2, numbers 580 through 585. On a certain occasion, the Lord said to me, I am more deeply wounded by the small imperfections of chosen souls than by the sins of those living in the world. It made me very sad that chosen souls make Jesus suffer, and Jesus told me, these little imperfections are not all. I will reveal to you a secret of my heart, what I suffer from chosen souls. Ingratitude in return for so many graces is my heart's constant food on the part of such a chosen soul. Their love is lukewarm, and my heart cannot bear it. These souls force me to reject them. Others distrust my goodness and have no desire to experience that sweet intimacy in their own hearts, but go in search of me off in the distance and do not find me. This distrust of my goodness hurts me very much. If my death has not convinced you of my love, what will? Often a soul wounds me mortally, and then no one can comfort me. They use my graces to offend me. There are souls who despise my graces as well as all the proofs of my love. They do not wish to hear my call, but proceed into the abyss of hell. The loss of these souls plunges me into deadly sorrow. God though I am, I cannot help such a soul because it scorns me. Having free will, it can spurn me or love me. You who are the dispenser of my mercy, tell all the world about my goodness, and thus you will comfort my heart. I will tell you most when you converse with me in the depths of your heart. Here, no one can disturb my actions. Here, I rest as in a garden enclosed. The interior of my soul is like a large and magnificent world in which God and I live. Except for God, no one is allowed there. At the beginning of this life with God, I was dazzled and overcome with awe. His radiance blinded me, and I thought he was not in my heart. And yet those were the moments when God was working in my soul. Love was becoming purer and stronger, and the Lord brought my will into the closest union with his own holy will. No one will understand what I experience in that splendid palace of my soul, where I abide constantly with my beloved. No exterior thing hinders my union with God. Even if I use the most forceful words, they would not express even a shadow of how my soul revels in happiness and inexplicable love, as great and pure as the spring from which it flows, that is, God himself. My spirit is so pervaded with God that I feel it physically, and the body partakes of these joys. Although it happens that God's touch varies in the same soul, it comes, however, from the same source. On one occasion, I saw Jesus thirsting and fainting, and he said to me, I thirst. When I gave him water, he took it, but did not drink, and immediately disappeared. He was clothed as he was during his passion. When you reflect upon what I tell you in the depths of your heart, you profit more than if you had read many books. Oh, if souls would only want to listen to my voice when I am speaking in the depths of their hearts, they would reach the peak of holiness in a short time. January 8th, 1936. When I went to see the Archbishop Jaworkowski, I told him that Jesus was asking that I pray for God's mercy upon the world, and that there be a religious congregation which would entreat the mercy of God for the world. I asked his permission for all the Lord Jesus was demanding of me. The Archbishop answered me in these words, As for prayer, I give you my permission, and even encourage you, sister, to pray as much as possible for the world, and to beg God's mercy, as mercy is what we all need. And I presume that your confessor certainly does not forbid you to pray for this intention. But as regards this congregation, wait a while, sister, so that all things may arrange themselves more favorably. This thing is good in itself, But there is no need to hurry. If it is God's will, it will be done, whether it be a little sooner or a little later. Why shouldn't it be? There are so many different kinds of congregations. This one, too, will come to be if God so wills. Be completely at peace. The Lord Jesus can do all things. Strive for a close union with God and do not lose heart. These words filled me with great joy. When I left the Archbishop's house, I heard the following words in my soul. To confirm your spirit, I speak through my representatives in accordance with what I demand of you. But know that this will not always be so. They will oppose you in many things, and through this my grace will be manifest in you, and it will be evident that this matter is my doing. As for you, fear nothing. I am always with you, and know this too, my daughter. All creatures, whether they know it or not, and whether they want to or not, always fulfill my will. So I've told you all about how I had some not so good boyfriends during my teenage years. And I think I explained to you guys how my very first boyfriend had pursued me all through middle school, and I didn't want anything to do with him because I was such a tomboy and I just wasn't interested in boys whatsoever. My best friend was totally boy crazy. I was the absolute opposite. And he pursued me, and I, wanted just to remain friends. As we got into high school, though, and things changed, he still pursued me, but I wasn't allowed to date until I was 16. But he started to look different in my eyes, and so I was more receiving of, his flirty nature and, how he was treating me. I was the object of his constant attention, and that made me feel really good. But once we started dating, all that changed. And he didn't call as much anymore. He didn't really want to go on dates. He didn't really want to do anything other than invite me over to his house, and then we would sit there and just watch TV. And I thought, gosh, man, if this is dating, this is kind of boring because they're not doing anything. I'd always imagined that dating was like going out and doing things together and getting to know each other. And we would just sit there on the couch and nothing. He wouldn't talk to me. He didn't, want to go do anything. And we would just watch TV shows. And it got old pretty fast. And I just didn't feel like he cared at all. And as time went on, his quote unquote love, I use that term loosely, became just utterly lukewarm. So lukewarm. Like he wouldn't even acknowledge my existence when we'd pass each other in the hallway. If we were in the same class together, the last class of the day was band, and we both had band together, and we were both trumpet players, and we sat right next to each other. But he always made a point to utterly ignore me and go talk to other people, especially other girls, which was difficult for me. I felt completely and utterly rejected. And it was just so lukewarm. And one time in teenage dramatic fashion, he was just flirting with this girl, and I just ran out in tears, crying into the hallway, and my best friend ran after me, and that was a dramatic showdown. But I just didn't feel liked or loved at all because he didn't want to give me any time or attention anymore. And that was so confusing to me. As a young teenage girl, I didn't understand how you could go from I was his everything to I was barely anything. And that just tore my self-esteem completely apart. And then the lukewarmness evolved into just abusiveness, and that got even worse. So how am I going to relate this to Sister Faustina's writings? Well, Christ talks about a lukewarm faith and how chosen souls that claim to be followers of his, it wounds him more when those souls sin and don't even try and just are lukewarm about their faith. Because on the one hand, you claim, oh, I'm a Catholic, but then your actions show just this utterly lukewarm lifestyle. Whereas if you're an atheist and you're like, yeah, I don't believe in God, I don't find him convincing, and you just live your life or you're not paying attention to him, well, that's not good, but it's kind of understandable that you wouldn't pay attention to him. And so lukewarm faith is just pointless. It's utterly pointless. And once I came back into my faith, I was still pretty lukewarm. It took a lot to get me to go to church. I wasn't reading my Bible. I wasn't praying all that much. I just was entertaining the idea of welcoming Christ back into my life. And thank goodness, I welcomed him fully by, converting to the Catholic faith. And that changed everything. But so often what we want to do is carry the label of Christian or Catholic, but we just want to live it half-heartedly. And here's the thing. We don't want anybody to love us in a lukewarm way, right? We don't want our spouse to love us in a lukewarm way. We don't want our parents to love us in a lukewarm way. We don't want our friends to love us in a lukewarm way. When those people love us in a lukewarm way, we feel completely rejected and just left out to sea. Like nobody cares. If we don't want other people to love us in a lukewarm way, why would we ever want to love God in a lukewarm way? Why would we ever think that that's okay to do? To say to God, yeah, I believe in you, but, I don't really want to talk to you, and please don't trouble me with Mass. And the Bible is so hard to read. I'd rather read this over here. Why would we ever think that that would be beneficial to our life? And why would we think that that would ever be loving to God? That has to be, like he says, so hurtful, because we're claiming to be something, but we're not living it out. Christ doesn't want us to be lukewarm. He wants us to come talk to him. He wants us to come read about him. He wants us to come to Mass and be in union with him because he loves us so much. And when we don't do those things, it breaks his heart. And so if you're living a lukewarm faith, there's just no point. It doesn't do anything for you. It's not transforming your life. It's not inspiring anybody to come to Christ. And it's not inspiring you. And you're doing something that you would hate if your loved ones did it to you. Gosh, think if God loved us in a lukewarm way. That would be devastating, just utterly devastating. So at the end of every podcast, Catholic Pilgrims, I tell you guys to live the faith boldly and travel well. And that's what we have to do. We have to live our faith boldly and with passion and on fire. And, you don't have to be on 24/7. But you just got to show God that you're willing to show up every day. Even in your sometimes very fragile, human, broken way, you're still willing to show up and give him the love and honor and praise that he most definitely deserves. So I will see you back here, Catholic Pilgrims, for day 131. And until then, live the faith boldly and travel well.